Welcome back, anybody. Hopefully you've seen part one of milling the utility poles that we've got here. And this is episode B of the series. Maybe we'll even have a third section of the series. Don't really know. Going to try to do less talking and more milling on this one because I want to get a lot done, and we've got a little bit of good weather, so I want to get it done now. What we've got on the mill now is this pole is a 16-footer. It's just over 6 inches at the top. At the large end, it's bigger. Now, I want to show you something that I had before I even did part one. And you're going to think, oh, it's this stupid, kind of ridiculous. But I've got a 4x4 profile, 4x8 1/4 profile, 4x6, and so on and so forth. And you're probably saying, well, why don't you just take the measurements and do your math and everything else and figure out what you got? Problem I've run into is these poles are so close to being the right size that if I'm off by even 1/4 of an inch on the placement of the blade, it doesn't yield what I want it to yield. So I've got a 4x4 that I'm going to get out of here because that's all I'm going to get. So I'm just going to put this right here on the end. You know what? We're going to put you mobile and get you up really close so you can see how fantastic this is. Okay, now some of you may be chomping at the bit to explain to me why I shouldn't just do the math on these things, but as I've mentioned, they just barely are big enough, and if I don't get them perfectly, we have a problem. So I'm just going to put a mark right here, and I'm going to put a mark right here. I'm going to do one over here just as insurance. So I've got a couple marks. All I have to do is this one and one of these two here, and I'll end up with a 4x4. And that's all I really care about right now. So I'm going to store my template up here. And again, I know you're laughing at me for it, but you'll get over it, and so will I. So let's get the mill started and warmed up and get this thing milled. probably wondering what's going on. So why don't we go mobile? And you can see. Why don't you go mobile? And you can see. Now this is the second cut on a brand new resharpened blade. And look at the mark we got on there. I haven't hit anything as far as I know, but it's from the spacing on here, I think we've got one tooth that decided to head south on here. And instead of changing the blade, I'm going to see if I can find that stupid tooth. All right, what I've got here is my precision depth micrometer. To you, it's going to look like an ordinary combination square, but it's a very special piece of equipment. So we're going to run the blade backwards, and I've got it so it's just barely below the tooth set downward. And what I'm looking for is a tooth that's set lower than the rest. I'm going to move this just a touch out here. There we go. Oh, there we go. That looks like a bad tooth right there.